Hello friends, welcome again to English Teaching and Training. Dear learners, this is the part second of our topic, that is a poem that is Punishment in Kindergarten, written by Kamala. In part 1 of this video lecture, we have already talked about the structure of the poem. We have gone through the text of the poem. We have talked about all the 3 stanzas of the poem and tried to fetch the meaning and the message in the poem. Dear learners, in today's topic, we are going to talk about the poetic analysis and appreciation of the poem. So when we talk about the poem Punishment in Kindergarten, as already we have discussed it, that it is talking about a past incident of the poetess. It is written in a nostalgic viewpoint, and it is having an autobiographical touch. Poetess is talking about a past incident when she was in kindergarten and her teacher scolded her on a particular day, that was picnic day, and the pain, and she expressed her pain and her emotions, hurted emotions on that particular day when she went to a particular side. She smelt the flowers and the pain. So we have already talked about all that. Now today we are going for the poetic analysis of this very poem. So first we will talk about the rhyme scheme of the poem. There is no particular rhyme scheme in the poem. Yes, it is a modern poem, it is a free verse. You will find no any rhyme scheme in the poem. Going for the style and the language, the style and the language are perfect to the poem. Kamala has greatly exploited her skill at poetry, and here I may tell you that she is the only Indian English poet that has who has no degree to her, but still she has been awarded Sahitya Academy Award in 1985. So talking about this very poem, it is very simple in terms of its style and language. You can easily understand it, but the poetess is having the greatness in this very particular poem to utilize, to exploit the imagery. She has used imagery greatly here, although there is use of a simile here and there at a place, but the use of imagery is greatly and nicely exploited by the poetess in this very poem. So when we talk about the themes of the poem, the first theme of the poem, the most dominant themes which are in the poem, the first one is that the innocence and the powerlessness of a child. Because when poetess talked about that she was very much hurt by the words of her teacher when she was reading in kindergarten, because that very particular time, at that very stage, a child can not express his protest in a somewhat violent manner. He or she can express only it with the help of tears, and same happened with the poetess. The second theme is there, that a bitter experience in your life, it cannot be forgotten. You cannot forget it easily, particularly when it happens to you in your childhood. So there is the second theme. And when we talk about the last and another most dominant theme, that is the poetess is talking about that if you are supposed to, if you have faced an incident, a bitter incident in your life, you should move on. You should try to forget that, and you should move on with your life. So these are most dominant themes in this very poem. When we talk about the use of poetic devices in the poem, there is mostly the use of imagery. Images have been created. When we talk about imagery, you know, we have got 5 senses, and the poetess has greatly and nicely utilized and exploited almost all the 5 senses and created a great imagery and that has lent a beautiful expression to this very poem. So when we talk about the imagery, when we first go to the first stanza of the poem, we see a blue frocked woman. When the poet is actually talking about her teacher, she has indirectly talked about her teacher with the image that a blue frocked woman, that means she was wearing a blue frock. So here is the first image, and it is related to vision. It is a visual imagery because we are supposed to imagine that a woman wearing a blue frock. So this is the first image used in the first stanza. Then there is also a use of a simile where it is said that throwing words at me like pots and pans. So here it is used, a simile has been used to express the cruelty of the blue frocked woman, that means the teacher, when she scolded her student, that was Kamala Das, when she was in kindergarten. Moving to the next part or the second stanza of the poem, again there is use of imagery when she said, my schoolmate is sipping sugar cane. So this is again an image. When she says schoolmate is sipping sugar cane, it is again an imagery and it is related to our taste. It is a taste experience which has been utilized. That image has been utilized. Imagery has been created, has been beautifully utilized by the poet here. And we are supposed to experience that delight of sipping sugarcane with the help of this particular image. Next, when we go to in this very particular stanza, there is again another use of image, that is, I buried my face in sun-warmed hedge. When we talk about a hedge, when in part 1 we talked about when she was humiliated and she went aside, she went to a particular place and she smelt the flowers and the pain by the side of that very hedge that was there. So here again, sun-warmed hedge, the poetess has again utilized another sense, that is of touch. When we talk about sun, when we talk about warm, when we talk about cold, it is again use of another imagery, and that is related to our skin, that is related to our touch. So here it is again, this very image has been greatly implemented and employed by the poetess in this very particular poem. In the same stanza, there is again, and smelt the flowers and the pain. Here you can see the use of smelling experience, the imagery related to your smell. When the poetess talked about that, I went to a particular side and I smelt the flowers and the pain. So when she talked about smelling flowers, we automatically are supposed to imagine that we are supposed to smell something, a particular flower. It may be rose, it may be something else. So she has also utilized the sense, our experience of smelling. And when we go to next or the last stanza of the poem, here there is again another poetic device used, that is imagery also, when she said, watching the steel white sun standing lonely in the sky. So here it can be talked about, when we talk about steel white sun, it can be taken as a metaphor, because if the poetess is talking about that, although it was clear, sky was clear and the sun was clear in like a steel white sun, but due to her pain, due to the scolding of her teacher, she was not feeling warm. She was cold at heart because she was humiliated greatly. She was badly humiliated by her teacher. So in that very particular sentence, she is using it as a metaphor. She is terming that sun, that it was cold, although it was clear. It was totally clear. There were no clouds, because she is talking about the steel white sun. But there can be a meaning that it was not making her warm because her heart was cold. Why? Because she was humiliated by the sun. And again, here is also an imagery, a visual imagery, when she talked about the clear sun, the steel white sun. It can be used as an imagery here. So, dear learners, these were some poetic devices, and there was some great use of imagery. We can talk about visual imagery, we can talk about the smelling experience, we can talk about the use of taste experience, and we can talk also about the use of sound imagery like pots and pans. When we hear the word pots and pans, we can easily understand the noise, the sound when we throw pots and pans towards particular place or someone, what kind of noise these utensils make. So I can say here that the poetess has greatly utilized all the senses of the reader. Here it can be of vision, of visual imagery, sound, smell, even touch, when she talked about the sun-warmed hedge, and then she also talked about the taste experience when she talked about the sugar cane, sipping sugar cane, and lastly the sound imagery when she talked about throwing words like pots and pans. Although it is an simile there, but still there is an imagery, it is related to sound. So dear learners, it was all about, in a brief, I should say, I talked in very brief about this particular poem in accordance to your examination point of view. What can be the question from there, the style, the language, the use of poetic devices, and the overall rhyme scheme, whether it is a modern poem, it is having a particular rhyme scheme, and all that, and what kind of imagery was used there. We talked about all. I hope you have understood this very particular poem. Dear learners, we will come with yet another topic on this very channel. It may be from the prose, poetry, or from grammar portion. Dear students, I would like you people that if you do like this very particular video, so please go for subscription of this very channel, like the video and share the video. And also I request to you that if you have any kind of question regarding any video or this particular poem, this particular topic, that is punishment in kindergarten, please write your suggestions, your questions, your opinions in the comments. I will come with an answer, or if you will you will suggest that you want a particular video for a particular lesson from your poetry, grammar, or prose, please write in the comment section. I will surely come with that very particular video on your choice subject from poetry, prose, or from grammar section. So dear learners, it was all about today's topic. Sure to meet you in a next video soon. Till then, take care, have a nice time, goodbye.